Ali to the EO podcast. In this podcast, we explore entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in Morocco. And it's great to have you here at the show because you are a very successful education entrepreneur. You've done several businesses in that sector. And I hope to learn more about this and what you've done in our conversation now. Welcome.
Thanks, Simon, for inviting me. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. Cool. So let's dive right into the topic that our listeners love to talk about, entrepreneurship. How did you become an entrepreneur? Was it something that was bred into you by your family, or you broke away from your family and everybody was like, how can you become an entrepreneur? Tell us about your path to entrepreneurship.
Well, I'm the son of two parents who have not much to do with entrepreneurship. My mother is, I would say, has had the most important activity of all, which is to raise us, me and my brothers and sisters. And my father was a doctor, so not much regarding entrepreneurship. But I guess I followed the path of an older brother who started entrepreneurship, and he was my role model. So when he came back to Morocco to launch his first venture, I was inspired by him and came back as well. And my first experience was a complete setback, challenging setback, which convinced me that not only it was a failure which was frustrating, but it also resonated in me because I discovered this world of entrepreneurship. It was really something that was close to some undeniable realization for me. I was convinced that entrepreneurship was something I was made for, but at the same time, I was very disappointed by that initial and frustrated by that initial I would say failure. So I think that's one of the things that makes entrepreneurs evolve. Is this I would say paradox that could be within us, some contradictory feelings, like being convinced that you are done for something or that you love something, but at the same time having this bitter feeling of failure. That was something that had to propel me to some different level of conscience about what is entrepreneurship and what I really wanted in terms of desire to do of my life. That's one of the reasons why I started working in education, because I felt that I was lucky enough to know that I was I would say an instinctive entrepreneur. But at the same time, I wanted to do something that had meaning, something that had impact. So this is in short the reason why I started.
Excellent. And then, what is like the trajectory because you mentioned you have several businesses in the education sector, and I can only assume you started with one, and then that became successful, and then you added the next one. So take us back in time and tell us about the first successful business that became the cornerstone of all the succeeding businesses. What was that, and how did you get to start it? What does it do?
Okay, so I started very organically. My idea of education was to do something related with data, and I would say in the landscape of blended learning, like mixing technology and the best of breed of technology with human interactions, physical and digital. So that's the idea I had, and I started to do teaching courses. I opened a small flat here in Casablanca Midtown city center, and I started teaching courses and exploring the markets. I was distributing the flyers, talking to parents, talking to families, hiring the first teachers, and doing some mistakes. Like first person I hired was a data scientist, which is a mistake because I didn't have data. I didn't have much data. So that's where I started. And once I validated the market, I would say I accelerated in terms of growth by building a streamlined process for acquiring and retaining customers and families. I'd rather call it families, even though they're customers, because in the education landscape, it's much more about like an ecosystem and I would say some kind of belonging. There is much more proximity with the customer. So this is how I started, and from there, when in the tutoring company, you don't usually have an IT team and the marketing team and all this. It's not rationalized at the level of maturity here in Morocco to have like specialized capabilities to scale the organization. So. The idea behind is that I started to specialize, but all that intelligence I had, I'd rather put it in another company that was providing with the acceleration and the intelligence to look at the business from an external perspective with the data and the transformation capabilities to scale it. So this is how I created a consulting company to help the first company accelerate. And from there, I extended the business into classical education schools, primary schools mainly. That's it. That's the story, long story short, about how I
Okay.
started.
So the first business was basically tutoring students, and you sort of like were very intent on like processes and automation and simplifying things to make it more scalable. And you took that knowledge then and offered it as a consulting service to other companies.
Yes, the first business was, I would say tutoring business based on the philosophy of marketplace. So it's a bi-directional marketplace with the customers being not only families but also teachers and connecting those. So that's how it started, and from there, with the as I said, a very organic approach. We started investing and scaling and improving the processes and gaining market shares, and that's how it's worked from there.
Nice. Cool. Where do you want to go? What is sort of the big plan for the future?
Well, there are many things to do. Definitely in the Moroccan landscape. One of the things is like there are quick wins, and there are some other things that would need a little bit more in-depth effort and energy. First thing that is integrating vertically. The Moroccan, if we talk marketplace, Morocco is asymmetrical. There was a lot of demand for courses, but not much. But there is some scarcity of skill, and this scarcity limits the scaling and the growth of company. If you want to grow, but keeping the reason why you grow, which is quality, you need to reduce dependency to the labor markets. And one of the things to do is to train people. Is training, is invest in training. And I mean, this is like a problem not only, constrained to my business, but I think it's a macroeconomical problem. It goes beyond that. But if I would say for me, what makes me dream, what is the next stage? The way I've built so far the company is really data-based and process-based. There's a lot of automation, a lot of digital investments in way, even though like the service is consumed locally, most of the task force is equipped and tooled with CRMs and a lot of tooling to streamline the processes. So today, after almost 10 years being here, I'd say that I have collected enough data. It's never enough, but I'd say sufficient data to start an adventure and encompassing AI in order to help me improve the services that I provide. So it could be either customer segmentation issues or even predictive analysis of customer behavior, or even helping teachers' performance to improve through understanding what are the metrics and parameters that make the great teachers. So that's where I'd love to I would say spin off slightly, but also help the current businesses improve.
Fascinating. Okay, so AI, another big topic. We could talk about that for hours. Taking a deep dive into this for writing, copywriting. So we do a lot of stuff there, but that's another conversation we had. So let's talk about more like the macro perspective of doing business in Morocco. The listeners of the podcast are mostly business owners from around the world. And to be a bit provocative, I think Morocco is mainly known for being a great place for holidays, lots of beaches, culture, and that the notion that there's sort of a vibrant tech scene and education sector hit me as a bit of a surprise. So what would you want other entrepreneurs from around the world love to know about the country? Why should one come to Morocco? What are sort of like the promises? What are challenges if you look at this whole context?
Well, one of the things in Morocco is that there is the cost of labor is low. That's number one. Cost of labor is interesting compared to Western countries, obviously. So if one has some strategic blend of delegation, streamlining processes, and training, also leveraging IT through BPM, and you could reduce not only the dependence to the labor markets, but also leverage the low cost to provide with high-end services. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I've tried to do, is providing high-end services to high-end customers, but still leveraging the training and the BPM to reduce I would say the volatility and the freedom of people to deliver services. Like you streamline the services. Like this is one of the reasons I like to give the example of McDonald's. They're still here in Morocco. They're growing a lot, and they have this kind of approach where they have the best systems. They have the best systems, even though you can be in Thailand, Singapore, or in New York. You would still have a McDonald's. You would still have a Big Mac with approximately the same taste. So the idea, if you come with an approach of providing some standardized services and putting the effort and pain into building that kind of service, then Morocco could be a good market, because there is a market here.
Yeah, fascinating. So a good destination for outsourcing or like getting local work done. What is so on the one hand side, I heard you say an attractive wage level, so it's not too expensive. On the other hand, I heard you say that there's a lack of skilled people. How do you reconcile these two?
Can you say it again, please? I didn't hear.
Sure. On the one hand side, you said that there's sort of like the wages are attractive for employers because they're low. And a bit earlier you said there's like an education gap, that there's not enough education. So usually when there's a lack of skilled labor, the shortages drive up prices. So how does it work together?
Yeah, this is the challenge. It's from one side you have attractive labor costs, but on the other hand, as you said, education is an issue. There are a lot of efforts done at the macro level here to enhance the education level and the employability of people to reduce unemployment. So for my thinking, and I speak for myself, is I think that technology is a huge opportunity for Africa as a whole and for the third world. Not only does it have benefits in terms of streamlining the value and services that are provided to the customers, so it reduces the beta, the volatility of the service, but also it helps people follow, I would say, a path. So it has some immense potential that, if leveraged correctly, represents, some huge value opportunity for Africa in the short term. So the thing is, for me, is build processes into great systems and then get the data, understand that data, and leverage it in order to improve the services.
Okay. So
I don't want Taiwan to. I mean, it's not about removing human, but it's about enhancing and augmenting human thanks to the technology. And at the end, it's what the customer gets in terms of value that matters.
well, that definitely that's what matters in the end. And I don't know. I don't want to go on a tangent, but so one of the things that I found fascinating now, working more and more with AI, is to see how much things can be done by AI or can be automated by AI that I before didn't even consider to be menial work, because it was just like part of, like, you have to do this. I mean, talking about writing, if I have to write a text, the research for that text is sort of not really the fun part of writing, because the creative aspect of writing is the fun part of writing. And I never really considered that to be a pain point of the process, because it's just the thing that you have to do. And then along comes ChatGPT, and suddenly you realize that, oh, holy cow, I spent like 80% of my writing time doing menial research stuff and sort of struggling with getting information because the source is not available, and then to, I don't know, all sorts of things that they're not really part of the value creation. And I think that is what the point that you made with automation, with processes, that we spent a lot of time on things that are accepted as a necessity, but they're not really fun to do, and we don't really question them because they are part of the process.
If I could add something about that, is that not only it presents a fantastic opportunity, but it raises the bar. It's about like removing no value or activities and trying to see where human matters the most. And I mean, when you talk about services and in education particularly, a human matters the most in terms of human interaction for teaching, for transmitting. I mean, everything else is cumbersome. So if you remove that layer of costly activities that do not bring value to parents and families and students, then you can focus on what matters the most, and it is like the students and his level and how we can learn better.
On that note, yeah, I'm married to a university teacher, a lecturer, and I was blown away seeing how much time she just spends on admin and how little time she really spends on teaching. I mean, there's also a large part of like working with students, but like an amazing amount of time wasted on like just updating spreadsheets and Excel lists and sort of like coordinating with colleagues what needs to happen. And that absolutely blew my mind. And for the first time, I have a confession to make. I was a bad student. Teachers hated me. And I never really knew why they hated me. But now seeing my wife, I get it. Because these students who are not performing well, they just create extra work on the admin side, and you have to deal with them on top of everything else. And so now I feel sorry for the teachers. If any of them listens, sorry for the burden that I put on them. But talking about education, and now that we've brought the subject of AI, what is your vision? How can AI help with education, simplify things, and sort of focus on the things that matter most working with students?
Oh, there's so much to do. You know, AI is metaphorically is a hammer. You can do anything with it. It depends on the use case. But there's so much to do. I would say that the main thing that could be done is to refocus the attention into students and students' understanding and evolution and progress. So it's about helping teachers deliver better courses and identifying the individual paths for learning of students. So that's, I mean, there's so much to do, so much to do. It's I could give you dozens of use cases right now that I see in my current organization, but I'd say that once you do those and implement them, but it needs a lot of experimentation and it's very empirical. You know, you have to test and adapt in order to get the right models. Then you will see different use cases. But the thing is, before you do AI, you need data. And that's the first thing. You need to source your data. You need to have the sourcing systems and the applications that collect the data. And then once you aggregate the data, then the fun starts. But first you need the data. That's one of the reasons. Like I would say that it's incredible. I'm incredibly lucky to be in the position I'm right now, because I've been, since the very beginning of the DNA of the organization, I wanted it to be a data company instead of being just an education company. It's a data service company that has a use case in education.
I like the sort of like how you turn the definition around data company in the education space.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Okay, so with the work that you do around data and your company, what is your role as a leader? Because how did you get, because a lot of business owners struggle with delegation and sort of get buried under tons of work and burn out. How did you get to that point that you were able to scale? What was a learning curve that you progressed through?
Well, I think there are so many paths into the journey of leadership. Mine was I mean, it was not a natural one. I'm an engineer, a former consultant, used to work in terms of diverse task forces into the landscape of consulting. So always changing from mission to mission, from assignment to assignment. And I would say I'm a doer. I'm more of a builder. I like to do things. So I like tangible outputs, results. And when you are in terms of mindset a doer, it's not something that's it's kind of very in terms of leadership. It's not something natural to be a partner for your task force in terms of production, and at the same time be the coach, and also be the one who judges, the boss, who says this is good, this is bad, we're performing well on this and not on that. So it's been a journey that after a series of challenges and reflections, I came to recognize the importance of fostering a culture of leadership in an organization. And fostering a culture of leadership means not only you should be a leader, but you should create leaders. And that's something that you need, because if you want to keep and build the right DNA that aligns with your vision, you need to work with your people and transmit them your values. And so as they do the same in terms of exemplarity, like they need to set the example of what are the right things to do. So you create the right pyramid. So I'd say as a builder, I learned that my influence is not only focused, should not only be focused on products or systems or processes, but mainly in the empowerment of individuals, in influencing and empowering my task force, and that's something of paramount importance. Once you understand that, it changes completely, the focus of that you have as the leader of your organization. This is something today that I've discovered, like I would say it's a serendipity, because once I found myself understanding and doing this, I came to realize that I was not only impacting positively my organization, but I was feeling natural in doing this, because I was the one that was, I would say, most capable of influencing and transmitting the values and the vision that I wanted to be there in the marketplace and in the organization.
Well, definitely, because you are the initiating force, so you have the idea that you can best transmit.
Absolutely. Yeah, nobody else could do it as good as the founder, or the one that had the initial energy to create the. I used to say to a friend of mine that you can only create your first company once. So that's the idea. Is like the energy that is required to build the company from scratch is something that is unique in life, and it's like a baby. You need to transmit your DNA and make sure that people understand the reason why you, and the mission that is behind that baby, that mission, that idea.
Beautiful. Ali, great conversation. For our listeners who want to learn more about what you do, potentially engage with you about business opportunities, how can they find you and where to go?
Well, they can send me an email to Nash, NESHNASH.gmail.com. And they can also reach out to me in LinkedIn or any other, social media, but LinkedIn would be the best, I guess.
Ali Nash on LinkedIn at Gmail. And the website for your company?
Well, for Capmission is capmission.ma. For 11055, it's 110-55.com. And I think that would be a good start to understand what I'm doing.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for your time and giving us another window into what entrepreneurship means in Morocco and what the country holds for people who come to maybe start their business. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you, Simon. It's been great talking to you.